As for Iowa State, TJ Otzelberger's team comes in looking to keep its record perfect. Along with King McClure, I'm Doug Sherman. What are we going to see out of the Cyclones?
Well, Doug, this is Iowa State's first real test. So tonight we're going to learn a lot about these guys. But one thing that I do know we've learned up to this point, Tamin Lipsey is legit and he's gotten so much better.
And for VCU, they come in with the one loss, but they are very dangerous in this setting.
They're long. Like it says, one player under 6'5". Will their length be able to cause chaos for Iowa State? Because they have not seen this length this season.
VCU in its home whites with the black lettering and trim. Iowa State wearing the cardinal with the gold lettering and trim. And we are underway with the jump ball thrown up by Byron Jarrett. And it's the Rams out of the A-10 with the basketball first. Foul on the shot as Max Shulga, a senior from Kyiv, Ukraine, will head to the free throw line. It goes on Keyshawn Gilbert. And so Shulga, one of the co-captains on this team, will head to the line for the first time.
I'm a huge fan of Shulga, and one of the reasons is because the way he plays, the pace that he plays with. Watch that tonight. You're not going to speed him up. He does what he wants to do, and that's 6'4". He creates a lot of separation and gets wherever he wants to on the floor.
Well, his coach Ryan Odom had him at Utah State and thinks that he has NBA potential.
He does. I mean, when you watch some of his moves, he definitely has a bag, but he's really creative off of the dribble, and I've been really impressed so far.
He hits all three free throws, and the Rams are on the board first here tonight. Here are the starting lineups for the Cyclones. You've already heard about Tamin Lipsey. He is kind of the head of the snake on both ends. Number 3 with the basketball. Gilbert, King, Jones. And keep your eye on number 22, Milan Momcilovic. He is a tremendous freshman from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 7 to shoot. Cyclones in a bit of trouble as Lipsey's got to go. Pulls the trigger from deep. One rebound comes to Iowa State.
You see right there, Lipsey missed the shot, tipped the rebound back. The small plays is what winners do, and that's Lipsey.
Off the hesitation, Lipsey got to the rim, couldn't finish the reverse, and this time, VCU secures the defensive rebound in the hands of the former Michigan Wolverine, Zeb Jackson. Passes up the shot to Kwani. Shulga works the baseline. Into the mid-post, and with the bucket is Christian Furman.
That's where Christian Furman has gotten so much better. His touch around the rim has tremendously improved.
Furman averages about 7 points and 7 rebounds a game. He's a legit 6'10", and like you've talked about, King, this is a team not lacking for length.
Not at all, and we see it in the first 2 possessions. VCU is really getting into him, and the length at the rim is causing Iowa State trouble in our offense.
Shulga knocked it out of bounds from Gilbert, and so Iowa State will keep. Just underway here at State Farm Fieldhouse. Momcilovic to the left hand.
He has to be big tonight. This guy right here is more than just a shooter. That's what he specializes in. But he can also take you down low. He's really a mismatch problem, Doug.
Well, his head coach, TJ Otzelberger, said we knew he was good coming in, but he's really a dude. He's better than we thought he was going to be early.
It's the confidence. As a freshman coming into a place like Iowa State, the confidence, you see it through the TV screen.
Well, it's no joke competing in the Big 12 Conference. You've got to have confidence, as you know all too well. That's
one thing that you cannot lack when you are playing against high-level competition, game in, game out.
Along with former Baylor Bear King McClure, I'm Doug Sherman. Glad you're with us for the start of this third quarterfinal at the ESPN Events Invitational. Kwani draws a second defender, gets rid of the basketball into the paint. Michael Bell up and around and out. Fight for the rebound, and it brings a tie-up. And the possession arrow goes the other way to the Cyclones.
If you're Iowa State, you were going to have to box out. With the length that VCU always plays on the court, remind you, Doug, they only play one person under 6'5". So with the length that they put on the court at all times, Iowa State must block out.
Yeah, the one non-6'5" guy is a backup point guard named Jason Nelson. He's 5'10", but everybody else between 6'5" and 7 feet tall. in amongst the trees. An air ball shot up by Trey King. And the Cyclones couldn't control it. The last to touch was Robert Jones until the Rams get the basketball back up 3 early.
Right now, they're substituting Robert Jones for Omaha Ballou. This freshman is going to be extremely good for TJ Altenberger. He had his best game last game. The energy that he brings is contagious.
Well, he is the highest ranked recruit in modern program history. He was number 11 in this year's ESPN 100. Hometown kid who grew up wanting to be a Cyclone, said no thank you to schools like Kansas and Oregon, and that's how much it means for him to wear the Cardinal and gold of Iowa State.
I think the first few games he struggled because, like you said, it meant so much for him and he was pressing a little bit too hard. Now he's starting to settle in. I think he's starting to figure it out, and I think we'll see him take a tremendous jump from this game, from last game, really, forward.
Well, Iowa State clobbered Grambling on Sunday, 92-37. Much greater test here tonight.
Oh, I love it. I love the energy that Iowa State is displaying. It started with Lipsey, their point guard, their leader, gets on the floor, and we see the same thing from Milan.
Curtis Jones, the Buffalo transfer with the basketball into the game, gets it back on the dribble handoff from Ballou. Momcilovic, a little loose with the handle, recovers, missed the shot off the side. Out of bounds. VCU.
Look at this hustle right here. It starts with your leader. Lipsey diving on the floor, 2 bodies on the floor. They get the ball and get out in transition. That is the effort. That is the energy you want to see. That's what it takes to win games like this.
Lipsey's a sophomore from right there in Ames, Iowa. Another guy who grew up wanting to be a Cyclone. He's the 15th player in Cyclones history to come from hometown Ames High School. Jackson's pass a little too tall for Toby Lawal. And if it's too tall for him, nobody's catching that pass.
And that's one area where VCU has to get better. They've struggled a lot in their turnovers. They have more turnovers on the year than they do assists. Right there, we see the close up the gap, and he turns the ball over. They have to be able to take care of the basketball.
Here goes Lipsey. Draws the contact and the foul. Well, if you're a defender for VCU, you've got to honor the shot of Lipsey, which is so much better this year. Timeout here at Disney in quarterfinal number 3. And VCU with the early lead over Iowa State in this quarterfinal matchup. With King McClure, I'm Doug Sherman. Welcome back, everybody. And in this game, we've got a pretty good matchup of point guards, King.
We do. Zeb Jackson versus Tamin Lipsey. I've been so impressed with Tamin Lipsey and his ability to knock down the three-point shot this year. Last year, he took 25 threes in all of the year. Up to this point, Doug, he has shot 11 already in the first 4 games. The kid is getting better, and for VCU, Zeb Jackson, I think he's a problem. The lefty sometimes can get a little bit out of control, but when he is playing at the pace that he knows he can play at, he can heat up fast.
Well, I think they're both examples of what we love so much about college basketball is improvement from year to year to year.
100%. And, you know, with the transfer portal and this new age of basketball, development is something that we really don't see anymore. But these 2 guys are testaments that development can happen in college basketball. Tamin Lipsey has taken the jump, and Jackson has done the same thing.
Well, VCU has not done a good job taking care of the basketball in the early going, King. They've had 6 possessions and turned it over 4 times. That'll be VCU basketball off the missed free throw from Tamin Lipsey, who comes in averaging 14.7 assists. And you mentioned he had 11 three-point attempts. He's made 5 of them. And in talking to Coach Altenberger yesterday, he explained why he is shooting the basketball better this year.
And it all starts with his balance. I think that's the biggest thing, the balance on his shot. He's going up and landing in the same spot.
Traveling violation, turnover number 5 for the Rams.
And that's one thing that Coach Odom expressed concern about Iowa State's defense, because they play that Big 12, force you to the side, keep everything on one side of the court, and right there, that is a good double. Robert Jones steps over, doesn't let him out the double. He travels. That's a good defensive possession from Iowa State.
Caught a glimpse there, first-year head coach Ryan Odom, who spent the last 2 years as head coach at Utah State. Before that, he was at UMBC. Big lefty move by 6'10" senior Robert Jones.
With VCU struggling with turnovers, I would love to see Shulga with the ball more, orchestrating the offense.
Here is Shulga. It was all Mountain West Conference honorable mention a couple of years ago, averaged about 12 per game. He glances up at the shot clock, fires away, has it rattle out. Lipsy pulls down the rebound. Momcilovic sets the screen. Here he is on the post. Big height advantage over Shulga, who's fighting on the block. Ooh. Gilbert spins, drops it off, and Jones throws it down.
Keyshawn Gilbert specializes in getting into the paint. He's not really a three-point shooter, but that right there, great awareness where the big jumped up. Nice little dump off.
Yeah, he can play the one, he can play the two. Former running rebel of UNLV. Out of bounds. Looked like Furman was the last to touch. Indeed it was, so Iowa State gets the ball back.
Oh, look at this move right here. Keyshawn Gilbert spin cycle with the nice drop off, and Rob Jones putting it down.
You know, he originally committed to Otzelberger at UNLV when Otzelberger was the head coach, and we see this from time to time that eventually the player will follow the coach.
And he's really turned into a really good college basketball player. I mean, on the year he has 35 field goal attempts and only 4 from 3. He's definitely looking to get downhill.
Averaging nearly 15 a game, trying for his first 3 here, and he's fouled on the triple by Shulga. He will have 3 free throws upcoming.
And right on cue. I think that's one of those fouls where you have to be aware of the scouting report. We just talked about 35 field goal attempts, 4 on the year. There's no need, 4 from 3 on the year. There's no need to go out there and contest that hard. Contest, but don't foul the three-point shooter, because his numbers, he's only shooting 25 from 3. No reason to foul right there.
Well, King, the offensive numbers for this Iowa State team through 4 games have been eye-popping. They have gone from more than 85 points for the first time to open the season since way back in 1987-88. They are winning by an average of margin of 45 points per game. They have 10 or more steals per game. However, they have not faced the type of competition they're going to face here this week.
Yeah, but I think the biggest thing with these early games is confidence boosters. You're trying to learn a lot about your team, trying to figure out who plays hard, who does what when the lights come on. But I think the biggest thing that you can be impressed with is they took care of business. There's sometimes a lot of these games you might drop 1 or 2 on accident, but they took care of business and handled what they were supposed to do.
Furman snaps the 9-0 Iowa State run. Apparently the other part of the equation for Lipsy getting so much better shooting the basketball all his work with Eric Crawford, as he is fouled on his drive. Crawford is the team's director of player development, and sometimes you don't know what the title means on a coaching staff, but you know what that means, and if he's developing this young man in the offseason, that's what he's getting paid to do.
And well, Otzelberger talked about how much he was willing to work. He really isolated his jumper, so he loves to play. He wants to be in constant competition every single day. But one thing that he did is got away from playing and just strictly focused on his jumper, and we're seeing the result of it.
Well, he was good last year, a unanimous Big 12 all-freshman team member, starter from day 1, but he has taken a step to his sophomore year. When you were at Baylor, was that kind of your approach every offseason, isolate something and get better at that?
Yeah, it was always, you would talk to coach and see what area I need to improve in, and when he would tell you, you have to go implement it, because he's the one making decisions. And for Lipsy, I mean, he started every single game as a freshman. I didn't do that, but Lipsy was good enough to play, good enough to start. There was only one thing that he was lacking, and that was his jumper, so it was obvious.
Shulga into the lane, loses his balance, gets the ball back, dumps it off. Lawal tried to throw it down. He was fouled on the way up. Well, that possession looked like it was going nowhere, but Shulga, I love the composure that he plays with.
Shulga is the guy that has to have the ball in his hands because he's the one guy that you will not speed up under this pressure. But right there, Toby Luau, 49.5-inch vertical. You've seen him, you've seen this young man on the Sports Center Top 10 because dude can absolutely fly. And we saw right there, that was off vert, Dougie. That was off vert.
Yeah.
And he got up right there. He made the Sports in the Top 10 earlier this season for an alley-oop dunk, but he can absolutely soar with the best of them.
Well, he's an NBA athlete right now. It's just whether his game will catch up to his body, but it's incredible the things he can do.
Hey, he does the things that you just can't teach. Oh, my gosh.
Right on cue. Walling up to get the block shot. Bell wide open from three. VCU retakes the lead.
In order for VCU to win this game, they have to be able to knock down three-point shots. They're only shooting 28 from three on the line.
Oh, starting to hear some of the folks who made the trip from Richmond, Virginia to follow their VCU Rams down here. Their team is surged back in front.
Look, this is impeccable defense. Look at the block. 2 hands in the air, and that leads to a wide open three. Shulga orchestrating everything. And if they're going to leave you that wide open, you have no choice but to knock it down.
Absolutely. At the line, Keyshawn Gilbert for the second time out of Vashon High School in St. Louis. His older brother Kendrick also played at UNLV as a non-scholarship player. Keyshawn was there before transferring for his last couple of years of eligibility at Iowa State. Nelson breaks the pressure for VCU. Air ball from the corner off the hands of Kwani, who is still 0 for on the season from distance.
That's early when you look at what Iowa State's game plan is, and a great block right there again. But it's obvious. They are clogging the lane and forcing VCU to shoot threes.
There's the length you're talking about. I think the block was Bell, and then he's the one who initiates the break.
And one thing about this VCU team, they are long, but they play extremely hard. Yeah, they have some guys who aren't as skilled with the ball. They're straight line drivers, but they play extremely hard, and they will attack the rim aggressively.
So Kwani coming back from off-season rotator cuff surgery, makes the front end. He is a graduate of Cal Berkeley. So you know he is a bright young man trying to take advantage of his extra year of COVID eligibility at VCU with a chance to go to the NCAA tournament. Of course, during his 4 years at Cal, they were not all that successful winning basketball games, and VCU has a history of getting to the tournament.
And Kwani is going to help this team once he starts knocking down three-point shots. We saw him shoot one earlier in the wing corner, and he airballed it. He has to be able to knock down three-point shots in order to help this team and space the floor.
A terrific start to our third quarterfinal here in Orlando. The Rams up a point over the Cyclones. Ryan Odom, his staff, and his players just marvel at the athletic ability we've been talking about of Toby Luau, 49.5-inch vertical. And if you want to know what it looks like, we've got some video to show you preseason what he can do. His head goes above the rim.
Man, this is absolutely crazy. They said he jumped so high they had to put boxes on the floor to raise the stanchion. Absolutely crazy. At a 49.5-inch vertical. Zion Williamson, one of the most athletic guys in the NBA. Mr. ESPN when he was in college. Only has a 45-inch vertical. This guy jumps 4.5 inches earlier, higher than him.
Right. I mean,
that's absolutely insane.
You think about it. Ja Morant, another one who's incredible, but is left in the dust by this young man in terms of vertical.
And we've seen it tonight. I mean, he has the intangibles that you just cannot teach. The athleticism that he showed at the rim. Impressive.
That foul before the break was on VCU's backup point guard Jason Nelson. He's got 2 fouls and remains in the game. And he is matched up with Jackson Pavletsky, who's got the basketball now. Lipsy to the corner. Good look for Gilbert. Off the front iron. Tracked down by Nelson. This is Michael Bell, a 6'7" freshman from England, able to put it on the deck and initiate offense.
You know, Doug, right now with Shulga out, Zeb Jackson has to be aggressive. We haven't called his name much, but he must be aggressive right now.
Well, he's coming off a career-high 20 points in their last game against Seattle on Saturday. Still looking for his first points tonight. Drive and dish, pass deflected away. Lucky bounce for VCU right into the hands of Michael Bell. Kavaletsky down the lane. Tough shot against two defenders. Out of bounds the other way.
That's the length right there. Every single time you go into the paint, you have to know that there is a 6'8" to 6'10" guy coming to contest your layup every single time.
And the other part of that is Michael Bell sitting down. Yes, he's 6'7", but he's got a 7-foot wingspan as well. Biggest hands on the team. He's just blessed with things you can't teach.
It makes it tough. Now, a lot of these guys are raw offensively. They're more straight line drivers, but their length on the defensive side can cause problems.
Shulga back into the game. Gives it back to Zeb Jackson. Shulga back to Jackson, rising up for three. Here comes Lipsy and the Cyclones. Gilbert with a head of steam to the bucket, goes to the other side, missed the layup. Shulga calls for the screen from Fats Billups and then is fouled out about 25 feet away from the bucket. And there is Shulga. He is 6'5", 200 pounds, preseason second-team All-Atlantic 10 Conference, having never played in the league. But he has done so much in his college career that the league's coaches know all about him coming in. Midway through the first half, back and forth we go. Furman dribbled the ball away. Plenty of time still in the shot clock. Good look from the wing, and it's an air ball from Alfonso Fats Billups.
That is such great defense right there from Iowa State. They do a tremendous job of keeping the ball on a side and not allowing you to get there, because you always see constant bodies. You always see numbers in front of you.
Big battle going on the post, trying to carve out spaces. Trey King, number 0 for the Cyclones. Phillips brings it back out. Lazy pass knocked away. VCU will keep it with 9:07 remaining in the first half.
You know, we talk about Milan being a great offensive player. Well, right there, it was one-on-one defense. He chests him up, beats him to the spot, and then right there, Curtis Jones, the defensive energy to dive on the floor for the loose ball to almost create a turnover. Iowa State is playing hard.
Furman traveling. Ryan Odom does not like the call. He says, what about the foul?
It could have gone either way, but right there on this short roll, Furman has to be able to shoot the floater before he goes into two. He shouldn't even got that deep. Shoot the floater. We've seen him hit it twice tonight. Shoot the floater, and that will give you success, or be able to look opposite, because they are loading up on you when you catch it right there in the middle area.
Curtis Jones works his way down the lane, dumps it off. Easy shot for Omaha Ballou, off the mark. Cyclones will keep the basketball underneath. Well, VCU, despite all the roster turnover, new head coach was picked in the A-10 to finish second this year behind Dayton, for whatever that is worth. Again, Iowa State will keep it, to the chagrin of the folks from Richmond.
Right there, Curtis Jones gets into the paint. Everybody clogs in. He has to be able to see Milan on the opposite side in the corner. That's three people. Trying to shoot over the length of VCU will not get you success. Kick the ball out and get a wide open three.
Momcilovic along the baseline. Shot clock under 5. And VCU comes up with the basketball.
Right now, Iowa State bigs, when they get into the paint, must look to kick out.
Bad first shot, great recovery by the teammate underneath. Christian Furman's got 6 points. Iowa State has cooled off, having missed its last 9 shots over the last 4+ minutes. Well, that stretch continues. The big rejection. Lipsey able to track down the ball on the other end of the floor. Lipsey no. And the tie-up will go to VCU. VCU up 5 with 7:34 to go in the half. Talon, thanks so much. We are in Orlando. And there's your game summary. Offense has been tough to come by, especially for Iowa State.
The length of VCU is really getting to them. They're closing out on shooters, and when you drive, you are seeing numerous guys, 6'7" and over, really athletic, contesting everything at the rim. And Iowa State keeping everything on the side. They're forcing turnovers and allowing VCU to shoot the wide open three, and they really haven't hit many.
Other than a 9-0 run, we have not seen any offense from Iowa State. The drought is over 5 minutes now since they last scored. Shulga's pass, I think, was intended for Jackson, but Bell cut in front. Now Shulga lets loose and buries the deep three.
That's the capabilities that he has. Deep range, shooting 44 from 3 on the year. He's extremely confident, and if you give him any bit of space, he will knock it down.
Well, that's his first made 3 in 3 games. He had been trending in the wrong direction, but that was a beautiful looking shot. Basket interference by Trey King. The ball from Momcilovic was still on the iron.
Let's take a look at this. I think this is the right call. He touched it and it's still in the cylinder, but right there, Milan has to be aggressive. He is their leading scorer. He has to be able to go create offense and to help them take away some of this deficit.
Bell lost it on the drive, out of bounds. Back to Iowa State. Well, as an illustration for how good VCU has been for years now, King, each of their last 5 head coaches jumped directly to power conference programs. From Jeff Capel to Anthony Grant to Shaka Smart to Will Wade to Mike Rhodes, who left after last year to Penn State. He's here in Orlando for this event as well. How many programs in the country? I mean, you don't have that type of success. Usually you're firing coaches or they're, taking other positions. Each of the people who have held the spot that now Ryan Odom does over the last 15 years has improved his position by jumping to that next level.
Yeah, well, VCU is what we would classify as a basketball school.
Oh, yeah.
And their facilities are top-notch.
Second to none in the A-10, there's no question.
Second to none. And their fans come out and travel, as you can hear right now. But VCU is a good program.
5 to shoot. Taman Lipsey gives it up. Momcilovic able to beat the buzzer, missed the shot. Offensive rebound for the Cyclones. Gilbert drive and dish. Lipsey checks the feet, left it short. Shulga trying to run. Jackson got it. VCU continues to separate. "12 unanswered points now for the Rams.
I think this is when you learn a lot about Iowa State. Who is the guy? Who would be your guy this year? When you face adversity, who is the guy that is going to go get you a bucket and get you out of the drought?
Momcilovic trying to be that guy. Can't do it. Shulga bats it out. Iowa State keeps. Who do you think it will be?
I think it has to be either Milan or Lipsy. One of the two.
The Cyclones cannot buy a bucket. VCU basketball.
And this is the first time that they have faced adversity. I mean, they've gotten off to tremendous starts in their first 4 games, and they've handled business like we talked about earlier. They've won every game by 40. But this is the first time this Iowa State team has faced adversity, and we are going to learn a lot about them in these moments.
Oh, yeah. Well, they have missed their last 16 shots against this VCU defense. Bell to Furman. He's been perfect from the floor, and that continues. 4 for 4. The run continues.
That's the short roll I talked about earlier. Because they force everything to the side, when he catches the ball, Furman catches the ball in that mid-paint area, he has to be able to knock that down against this Iowa State defense.
He's another one who's taken a big step this year. Last year under Mike Rhodes barely got off the bench. He's a starter and a contributor now as a sophomore. Iowa State will go to the free throw line to try and snap that drought.
This is a good, aggressive take. Keyshawn Gilbert draws the contact mid-air. He's so good at that. He's such a great finisher, always looking to get downhill. This is what they need him to do. Whenever you're going against a shot blocker, create the contact and go straight through his chest.
Here are our featured college football rivalry weekend matchups. Number 7 Texas can lock up a spot in the Big 12 championship game with a win against Texas Tech tomorrow night on ESPN. And Saturday night, number 5 Florida State without the quarterback, of course, Jordan Travis, is already in the ACC championship game. They'll take on Florida without its quarterback. And then on ABC, number 1 Georgia already in the SEC championship game will square off against rival Georgia Tech for the 115th time. Again, that's on ABC.
That'll be a great day of football, man. Getting close to that time, that college football playoff time.
No doubt. Shulga takes a lot of contact, keeps control. And you said it off the top, King. You cannot speed Shulga up. With the shot clock a factor, the 3 from the corner is missed by Lawal, out of bounds. VCU possession.
Potentially could have been an over the back right there by Furman. Rob Jones had him blocked out. Looked like Furman might have went over the back right here. Maybe a little bit. Might have went over the back. Could have been a foul called on Furman. Nonetheless, VCU basketball.
But again, a 7'1" wingspan, and that's the 3rd longest on the team. Ouch. Lawal banged the back of his head on the hardwood and is down.
Iowa State foul number 10, Keyshawn Gilbert. Second personal against team foul.
Wow.
Good to see Lawal pop up. Gives the thumbs up, and he's planning on staying in the basketball game.
Yeah, it looked scary, man. He got up so high. He elevated so high, which made the landing and the fall even that much bigger. So glad to see him pop up because that looked painful.
Yeah, I never had that problem. Anytime I fell, I was not falling that far.
Same thing. I wasn't jumping that high.
That foul was on Gilbert, his 2nd, and now Lawal will indeed take a seat. Get a nice round of applause from the fans who made the trip here to Orlando as Kwani comes back into the game. And now Bell will take a seat. So Shulga and Nelson in the backcourt. Along with Jackson. Here's Shulga for 3. His 2nd in a row. And the run continues.
Max Shulga showing us why he is so highly touted in the A-10. This kid right here can hoop.
Well, he dropped 29 on the Air Force Academy last year. Shulga can heat up. Curtis Jones, front iron. Robert Jones, the offensive rebound, and he was fouled on the putback. (28-14) with timeout on the floor. I would hope so. First of all, though, Crispin, you got to share the pumpkin pie. What's going on? This is Thanksgiving after all.
Crispy.
Well, 17 misses in a row. The last field goal for Iowa State was the Robert Jones dunk way back at the 14:37 mark. It's a 23-5 run for VCU, and indeed, as they asked King, can Iowa State get a bucket?
Yeah, we alluded to this the first time that they have faced adversity, and they're still searching for the guy. And I think this is a great game to find out who will be the guy for you. Big-time players step out and come to the forefront in these type of moments.
VCU substitution, Kwani out, good to see. Toby Lawal, the sophomore from London, England, who took that fall from great heights and hit his head back onto the floor. Robert Jones 0 for 2 from the line, soaring in for the offensive rebound, and to keep the possession alive, Curtis Jones. Lipsy dumps it off. There's an easy layup. Good drive and dish from the sophomore from Ames, Iowa.
And that's what Lipsy has to do. He is so hard to keep out of the paint. One-on-one, if he can get inside, has to be aware where the big is and drop it off to the open man.
Six to shoot. Ball back into the hands of the backup point guard, Jason Nelson. Clears himself with some space and completes the play.
Jason Nelson, arguably one of their best shooters, not based off percentages, but just based off the amount of shots he takes and his ability to knock them down consistently. He can shoot the ball, and that's a nice crossover step back.
Jones blocked by Furman. The other Jones, Robert, cleans it up. He leads all the Cyclones now with 8. Ball poked away, out of bounds. VCU will keep. They've got 8 seconds on the shot clock.
Now look at this block. You have to be aware where the big is because they are coming over. But Robert Jones does a great job of following it up. Iowa State needs more of that to come back.
Turkey hats are the thing today, and why not? Here at the ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex. This is our third quarterfinal of the day. Happy Thanksgiving from us at ESPN to all of you both in the building and home watching. This is the first time you've missed Turkey Day at home.
And it's the first time I have missed Thanksgiving with my daughter. She's 5, so we've had the last 5 Thanksgivings together. And it's the first time I missed Thanksgiving with her. Shout out to my daughter, Lakin.
Is she watching now?
I don't know. She might be eating, but I don't know. I hope she's watching.
Lazy pass, nearly stolen. Lob to the rim, a little too tall for the wall. And you know what? If you're Jason Nelson, you throw that pass, you think, I can't throw it too high for that guy.
I was about to say, to throw the ball too high to the wall, you're just a bad passer. That's a horrible pass. Yeah, this right here is not a good pass. Lawal can jump out the gym, probably touch the top of the square.
Out of bounds, Cyclones will keep. 31-18, VCU has seized control by clamping down defensively on an Iowa State team that comes in 4-0 on the year, having won its last game by 55 points over Grambling, but the competition much stiffer here this week in Orlando. Momcilovic. Well, he comes in averaging 15 points per game. Curtis Jones averaging 10 a game. Neither of them have been able to get going.
Yeah, well, VCU has done a great job of being oh my goodness.
A little better pass that time. Able to finish it was Toby Lawal.
Oh, Max Shulga getting into the lane and the nice pass right there in the throwdown. But VCU's done a great job of taking away Nealon's threes. And the last time he got the look, that was his first, I guess, quote-unquote, clean, kind of clean look.
Bad pass from Lipsy. The intended receiver, Trey King, was leaning in when the ball went out to the corner.
Look at this. Shulga just so good playing at his own pace, putting the defender on his back.
But did you see the teammate Furman thinking that pass is for me, and then all of a sudden come from nowhere, number 10 on his teammate's head.
And doing the head taps, but the head tap was the guy on your own team. He was the one that got dunked on.
Cyclones timeout gives us a chance to show you the Bad Boy Mowers battle for Atlantis bracket. What a game earlier today in the semifinal. Villanova in overtime took down North Carolina 83-81.
Villanova is just such an older, experienced team. I mean, when you look at Tyler Burton, you look at Justin Moore, Eric Dixon, these are dudes who's been there for about 3-4 years, who understand the system and know how to win tough games. Villanova's a really good team.
How about last night's Arkansas-Stanford game, which the Razorbacks wound up winning in double overtime?
Man, that game right there, I was up late last night doing a little bit of studying, but that game was impressive. I mean, Debo Davis, Tremont Mark, probably one of the best backcourts in the SEC.
Well, over on ESPN right now, the Hogs are playing Memphis. They're tied at 21 late in the first half in that second semifinal in Atlantis. Just over a minute to go here in Orlando.
Right now, if you're VCU, you should be able to go 2 for 1.
Jackson on the pull-up, no. And they should get an opportunity with the quick shot. Unfortunately for the Rams, they didn't convert the first time. Lipsy takes the lid off with his first made field goal of the night.
And that's what Iowa State is going to have to do. Lipsy's going to have to be a little bit more aggressive offensively, and when they get those looks from 3, they're going to have to be able to knock them down.
Over and back on Shulga. The Cyclones showing a little fight here late in the first half.
I love it. That all starts with Lipsy. He is the leader on offense and defense right there. You typically don't see Shulga ever get sped up or get in situations like that, but Lipsy, with that mentality, can climb up underneath you right there. Hit you with his body, doesn't reach in. That is great, solid defense from Lipsy.
And you know what, King? That's the 10th turnover committed by VCU, and yet they still lead by 12.
Man, that's because Iowa State is struggling on the offensive side. If Iowa State can get some answers, which right here, I think it has to be Lipsy going downhill and creating for his teammate.
Big possession for the Cyclones going into the break. 5 seconds. Gilbert back to Lipsy, trying to make it 2 in a row. He's got it! The Cyclones have life heading into the break.
Taman Lipsy, we talked about his shooting. We talked about how much he has improved right there. Last year, Doug, he was not knocking this down. He wasn't even looking to shoot this. But this is a great drive from Gilbert. They lose their man, Lipsy. He was a catch and shoot guy. But he relocated right there, got his feet set, the balance to go straight up and down. Taman Lipsy has improved so much. They need that in the second half.
Our halftime score, VCU 33, Iowa State 24. In studio, Dallin Cuff and John Chris. Night has come across the city of Orlando, and VCU heads to the second half with a 9-point lead over Iowa State in our third quarterfinal. And if not for a couple of made three-pointers right before the half by Taman Lipsy of Iowa State, it would have been an awful lot worse, King.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Iowa State comes out of this half. Because the biggest thing right now that sticks out to me, Iowa State shooting 23% from the field, but they aren't turning it over. It's just legit misses at the rim. They're not having clean looks. I'm interested to see what they did, because when they came out from halftime, they were working on driving and filling behind to get the open 3 like you saw Keyshawn Gilbert do with Lipsy. And the bigs are working on floaters because you have to be able to have that in your arsenal to go up against this athleticism. And Lipsy right there already. He needs to be aggressive in this half in order for them to win this game.
10 unanswered points for Lipsy. And yeah, as you observed, you just don't see that type of organization in a drill coming out of a halftime locker room.
It was very strategic, but that's why Otterberger is one of the best in the Big 12 when it comes to coaching, because he does things like that to make adjustments.
Off the Cyclones, VCU will keep. Off the miss from Zeb Jackson. Jackson, Shulga, Bell, Furman, and this is Michael Bell with the basketball. Starting in the second half. Off the hesitation, Jackson splits the double team, finds Bell, out of bounds. And so with 3 seconds on the shot clock, they're going to have to make something happen quickly.
Right there, when you drive, you have to look opposite because Iowa State is clogging in. Their defense is predicated around clogging the lane, keeping everything on one side of the floor.
Jackson triggers into Bell. Turns and shoots a 2-point shot.
What a great defensive possession right there from Iowa State. Lipsy, one-on-one defense right there. Chested him up. Made him take a bad shot.
Keyshawn Gilbert can't get Shulga off his feet. Instead, he finds fouling behind him Momcilovic, who missed the 3. The two defenders ran into each other. King went to the bucket, and he's called for the offensive foul. Tremendous defensive recovery by Kwani.
Yeah, this was the right call. Kwani slid over and beat him to the spot. Take a look at this right here. It ran right into his chest, was outside the charge circle. That is the right call.
Second personal foul on Trey King, the senior from Lexington, Kentucky, who turned 24 back in October. Bell flies in for the offensive rebound.
And one thing, with the size of VCU, if you're Iowa State, you have to block out. If you are going to give up open corner threes like that, because of the lack of shooting, you must follow it up with a rebound.
Gilbert puts it up on the rim, and it falls. The lead was as much as 15 points late in the first half. Bell wide open. Got it! He came into the game having not made a 3 all year. He's got a couple here tonight for VCU.
I don't hate the strategy by Iowa State. They are giving open shots to guys who do not make threes and saying, I dare you to beat me that way.
Lipsy from the foul line. In the blink of an eye, he's got a dozen to lead the Cyclones back to within 8.
Doug, I cannot stress how much he has gotten better on the offensive side. Last year, he was not able to do what he's doing right now, the offensive performance and relying on his jumper.
Average 7 points, 4.5 assists per game as an all-freshman member of the All-Big 12 team. Jackson with a blind pass around the defender to Christian Furman, who's into double figures.
He has hit that shot 3 times. That is his bread and butter today. When Iowa State loads up, he has to be able to knock that down consistently, and he has done that tonight.
Lipsy dumps it off. Robert Jones contorts his body and lays it off the window.
Iowa State starting to get what they want on the offensive side. Getting to the paint, getting paint touches, and creating, and also being able to finish with floaters that we saw Gilbert hit earlier.
The paint again. Furman may have shuffled his feet, but they call a foul on the way up. Second foul on Tamin Lipsy.
Lipsy gets so low to the ground, and he's such a force that when he gets past you, his ability to contort his body in the air and find the open man, like we've seen him do multiple times tonight, he's one of the best at.
Both of Lipsy's parents were Division II athletes at Southwest Minnesota State. Holly played volleyball. His dad, Robert, played football. Both now work at Iowa State University, and that is not uncommon for the young players who we have seen come out of Ames High School. Can you name the best players to come out of Ames High School? Didn't play for the Cyclones. I'll tell you.
Listen, so I have one in my head, but I really don't want to say it because I feel like if I get it wrong, I'm going to get crucified.
Then I'll do it. So Harrison Barnes.
Okay, yeah, I knew Harrison Barnes from Iowa.
And Doug McDermott.
Okay, that's not who I was saying in my head. Good thing I didn't speak up, Doug. Way to save me, Doug.
But both of those guys, of course, Doug's father was the basketball coach at Iowa State. And I believe that at least one of the parents was also an Iowa State employee for Harrison Barnes. Here goes Lipsy off the bounce. A little step back. Left it short. VCU holds Iowa State to one and done. Jason Nelson is coming to the game for VCU at the point. Here goes Shulga into traffic. The officials look at each other to see what the call is. A.J. Desai and Byron Jarrett. And they call the foul on Omaha Billu. With King McClure, I'm Doug Sherman. We couldn't do it without these guys. Got to make sure they get their breaks in between games to get their fill of turkey. Stuffing. You still got some of your turkey meal here sitting next to you, King. You going to get after that?
Yeah, probably during halftime. It's a little fried chicken. You know, I got to stay away from the fried foods. But it's Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
It's a holiday.
Offensive foul against the Rams and against Christian Furman. That's his second personal.
That's great defense right there. Furman got stuck in the corner. Great trap. Tried to break it, but they climbed up underneath him and took the charge. Great defense by Curtis Jones. Right call.
The Cyclones are 4-0 on the year, having scored 85 or more points every time out. Not likely to get there here today. It's been a struggle on the offensive end. Out of bounds. VCU gets it back.
Right there, that was a good look from Trey King. I saw what he tried to do. Baloo had the open layup, but he just threw it a little bit too hard.
Full court pressure by Iowa State. Bell has it poked away for a moment by Curtis Jones, who's still up under it. Tripping foul as Jason Nelson tried to get into the lane. It's foul number 3 on Keyshawn Gilbert. Jason Nelson, it is believed to be, as we take another look, is the only player ever to transfer from Richmond to VCU, or the other way. Nobody's ever done it. But in this day of transfer portal movement, VCU got a really good player from not only a rival in the conference, but across town from the Richmond Spiders.
He definitely helps, because one thing that VCU lacks is perimeter shooting. And he is a guy who can come in the game and knock down trays consistently for you.
As a freshman for the Spiders, his career high last year was 21 against UNI. Here he is with a basketball. Got the dribble back as the ball was knocked away by the defender Lipsy. And Iowa State's got it. The defense has certainly picked up for the Cyclones. Absorbing the contact and finishing, Momcilovic.
Doug, this is a VCU team. We mentioned it earlier. They have more turnovers on the year than assists. So if Iowa State can pick up that defensive intensity, they can get back into this ball game.
Shulga, the step back 3 with a hand in his face, and it goes. Wow.
The footwork, though, on that step back. The between the legs right into the inverted step back. That is impressive.
Lipsy fouled And he'll shoot 2.
Look at this move. This is a high-level one-on-one isolation move. Right there off the between the legs. Didn't take the step forward, just took the step backwards. That is a high-level one-on-one bucket.
Again, Shulga is from Kyiv, Ukraine, in the war zone, but we understand his family, for the time being at least, is safe for now. And they certainly remain on his mind. You talk about missing your family members on a holiday.
Man,
it's a whole different thing for that young man. In comes Zev Jackson. And out goes Shulga. Bell working down the lane and foul. How about that matchup of 6'8" freshman on the perimeter?
That's a really, really intriguing matchup because both of those guys play pivotal roles for their teams, and they are very, very talented. And this is a great take. You have to know that Bell is majority right-handed. When he is driving, there's not much switch to him. He is a straight line driver trying to put his head down and get to the rim.
The NBA in-season tournament rolls on tomorrow night with another group play doubleheader at 7:45 Eastern. Jimmy Butler and the 2-0 Heat take on Julius Randle and the 1-1 Knicks in East Group B. And then Steph and the 1-1 Warriors host Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs in West Group C. Coverage tips with NBA Countdown 7:30 Eastern on ESPN and the app. Lipsy.
Oh, my goodness.
He left the ground with bad intentions. Toby Lawal was again on the receiving end. He'll get the foul, and Lipsy, they list him at 6'1". He was way off the ground.
And this is picture perfect of how, as a guard, you were supposed to attack a big, go straight through his chest. And Lipsy, yes, he's short, but he's extremely stocky. So when he is coming at you full force, he elevates, goes through the chest of Luau and gets the and one. Tamin Lipsy showing young guards how to finish. That is a high-level finish right there, Doug.
And again, Luau taking his second shot to the back of the head here tonight. He stays in the game. And by the way, I asked you earlier about those great Ames High School basketball products, and the person who you didn't name, you said, was Fred Hoiberg. You had it right, because he could also be the greatest.
I had it right, but I didn't want to be wrong because Iowa State fans love to crucify me. So I had it right, but I didn't want to give them more ammunition.
Why don't they like you? I don't understand. You're such a likable guy.
Man, that's a great question. I don't know. I don't have any ill will towards these people, but shout out to all the Iowa State fans that crucify me on Twitter.
Well, it might have been the fact that in your 4 years at Baylor, you went in and spoiled Hilton Magic 3 times.
Yeah, I'm 3-1 in Hilton, which is a hard place to play at because those fans, one thing they do, they show up and show out.
They sure do.
They are loud. It's not an easy place to play. Probably one of the better environments in America.
Yeah.
Top 10 for sure.
As soon as the gates open, the building seems to be full, and people are in their seats ready to go right from the start.
Yeah, that and Allen are hands down the 2 toughest places to play in the Big 12.
This is Keyshawn Gilbert, the junior from St. Louis, driving on Nelson. Finds the open man in the corner for 3. Out of bounds. Lawal had the rebound for a moment, but then lost it out. He was the last to touch.
One thing you need to pay attention to. Whenever the guards of Iowa State drive, watch what Robert Jones does. Robert Jones does a great job of sealing. But right here, yeah, this is out on the wall, went off of his shoulder. But whenever the guards of Iowa State drive, watch what Robert Jones does. He seals the big to not allow a contest.
That's number 12 in Cardinal. There he is. They call him Big Rob Energy. Key performer at tournament time the last couple of years. 3rd year in a Cyclones uniform, and they get a lot of the intangibles from that guy. By the way, Kwani now has 3 personal fouls, so he will take a seat next to Ryan Odom on the VCU bench.
Oh, great drop right there. That is a great drop from TJ Otzelberger. On the side out of bounds, the back screen. Great drop right there.
Easy 2 points for Gilbert. It's a 6-point game, the closest it's been in a while. Furman was fouled on the shot.
Take a look at this. The back screen for the inbounder. Great drop. You typically never see this. Whenever somebody inbounds the ball, they stand on the perimeter or go to the corner. But the back screen threw him off guard. Easy 2 points. Great drop from the side out of bounds.
There's TJ Otzelberger in year number 3 as head coach at Iowa State. He is a graduate of Wisconsin Whitewater back in 2001. Well, at this end, Iowa State certainly performing much better in the second half, shooting the ball 7 of 11 after only 22% in the first half. Now, as a matter of fact, King, they've got more made field goals here in the second half than they did the entire first half. It's a 5-point game. Rams need a timeout as the Cyclones trying to get back in this thing and retake the lead.
The adjustment that they made, come off a ball screen, but the difference is this half, they are making buckets.
Back in Orlando, VCU's lead has been trimmed to 5. It's the closest Iowa State's been since 17-12 with 8 minutes to go in the first half. With King McClure, I'm Doug Sherman. And it feels a little like Hilton Coliseum. I understand during the break you're getting a little pushback in your assertion that either Allen Fieldhouse or Hilton Coliseum were the best 2 environments in the Big 12 Conference.
Yeah, we got to talk about the Octagon of Doom, too, because I didn't play in the Octagon of Doom when it is like how it is right now. I played in it. They were good. I mean, Barry Brown, they had some good Kamal Stokes. They were good. But the Octagon of Doom, now what Jerome Tang has done with Kansas State, that's probably the 3rd hardest place to play. It might give the top. It might give Ames a little run for its money right now.
Here's Zeb Jackson, double team. His pass taken away. Lipsy cut off the passing lane.
The energy right there. The trap. Great defensive adjustment from Otzelberger. The trap on the ball screen right there. Oh, man.
Hanging in the air and finishing is Keyshawn Gilbert.
Iowa State guards, Gilbert, Lipsy, showing us how to finish through contact and to go through the chest of a shot blocker.
And if you're the Rams, who do you look to here for a big bucket?
Well, it has to be Zeb Jackson or Shulga.
Yeah, I don't think that was the shot they were looking for from Toby Lawal. And so the momentum continues to favor the Cyclones as we head to break.
Iowa State is showing us how to get back in this ball game, and particularly with their guards. They are finishing through contact. Keyshawn Gilbert, Tamin Lipsy, and even Curtis Jones. These 3, this trio, showing us how to finish when you are going up against athletic bigs. I love what I am seeing, and I love when we see good guards be able to get to the paint and put on a show.
As a team, TJ Otzelberg's team in the second half, 9 of 13, including 9 of 11 from inside the three-point line.
And these are the 2 guys who have to lead the way because they are older, they're experienced. And even though Lipsy has only been playing, this is his second season, his sophomore year, he started every single game last year. He's no longer a sophomore in my book. When you play in the Big 12 and you start every single ball game, you are experienced, you are technically a veteran. So these 2 guys in the backcourt have been there before. They have done it at a high level, and they're the ones that have to lead this comeback and lead this Cyclone team.
Michael Bell now with 13 points to lead VCU. This, by the way, in his short 5-game collegiate career, by far his best offensive outing, now with 14 points. His previous best was 7 a couple of times against McNeese State and Samford. Quick pass inside. Strong to the rim for the flush. Trey King.
Oh, that is a grown man finish right there.
Well, he's 24 years old. He is a grown man.
Probably a lot of those in college basketball today, huh?
He's got 29 guys in the country older than him playing Division I college hoops.
Sheesh.
Shulga. Tough three-point shot. 3 Cyclones battle and come away with the basketball from Furman. Curtis Jones, no. That would have tied the ball game. Cyclones keep possession with 20 to shoot.
Let's take a look at this grown man finish from Trey King, throwing it down like a king. Not worried about Christian Furman in the shot blocker and the length at the rim. Maybe an and one, but nonetheless, that is a finish.
By Marvin Otis King. First 2 points for Trey will wind up on the highlight reel. Here's Curtis Jones. And he'll head to the line with a chance to make it a 1-point ball game.
The biggest difference that I'm seeing, Doug, is in the first half, Iowa State was a little thrown off by VCU's length. They were going to the rim extremely timid. This half, you've seen it with Gilbert, Lipsy, and now you're seeing it with Curtis Jones. When they go to the lane, they are expecting a contest. They're expecting the length to be there, so they are going through the shot blocker's chest, trying to finish.
Curtis Jones now 23 of 28 on the season from the line. There's TJ Otzelberger, who's done a marvelous job since taking over a Cyclones program that won only 2 games the year before he got there, and has only taken this team to the last 2 NCAA tournaments.
He's done a tremendous job, because I remember the year before he got there, it was a struggle to watch.
Yep.
It wasn't a beautiful thing, but TJ Otzelberger has revived this program and made it back to what Iowa State basketball really is. Oh, look at the defense by the big fella.
So when you're the little guy Nelson and you've got Robert Jones trying to check you, what should you do there, King?
You have to be able to create. And it's not play with them and go side to side. It's a straight north and south. I think he went 2 east and west. You have to be able to attack, and when you go by him, look opposite, because they are sliding over to help, because they know it's a mismatch on the perimeter.
Nelson with 2 to shoot. Buries the 3. A huge shot for VCU.
And that's set up by Shulga right there. He's composed. Saw where his open shooter was, got it to the open man, knocked down.
Back to a 5-point VCU lead.
Oh.
Another grown man move, a lot of contact, and King the beneficiary.
That's when you hit the Russell Westbrook cradle and you say he's a baby, because that was another. The second we've seen today from Trey King, finishing like a king. No pun intended.
Every bit of 6'7", 230 pounds, a senior from Lexington, Kentucky. Banked around and in, and Zeb Jackson, all he can do is shrug and smile and take the 3 points.
But right there, Lipsy overhelped. When Shulga drove, he overhelped and slid over. Somebody's supposed to take Lipsy's man on the tag, but nobody did it.
Curtis Jones, no. Offensive rebound for the moment, but it was taken away. Trey King could not secure it.
If you're VCU, the ball has to go to Shulga. Shulga has to have complete control of this ball game, because he is the one creating and orchestrating everything on the offensive side.
Zeb Jackson right to the bucket. What an answer for VCU to get the lead back to 8.
Right now, you have to go back to what worked for you if you're Iowa State. Set the high ball screen. Let your guards get downhill.
Iowa State had multiple opportunities moments ago to tie the game, and now they're staring again at an 8-point deficit. Shulga's going to be called for the foul on the entry pass. Tried to get away with a little shove on the backside of King, and that's number 2 against Shulga.
That's great awareness from Lipsy. You had Trey King, the one that we've been talking about for the past few possessions, who was a grown man against the guard in Shulga. Lipsy was aware of it, threw it down low. Shulga had no choice but to foul because it probably would have been a bucket.
Ryan Odom, the 2021 American East Conference Coach of the Year, parlayed his success at UMBC into a job the last 2 years at Utah State. Now in his first year back in the East at VCU. Under 8 minutes to go in regulation. King couldn't handle the pass. A little too hot from Gilbert. And that takes us to break.
Sam Jackson has had a quiet night, but you know what? Sometimes, Doug, it's better to be lucky than to be good.
And now into the evening with the VCU Rams showing King McClure that they've got a little bit of fight. I thought the Cyclones were going to run past them, but VCU says not so fast.
That's one thing that you have seen. When you looked at the games they have played this year, they have typically been down a majority of them, especially last one. The game against Seattle, they were down in a lot of that game, but they were resilient. That's one thing Ryan Odom talks about, the resiliency of his team.
They came back to beat Seattle on Saturday 60-56. They led by double figures for much of this game. Fight for the basketball, and I believe Nelson's going to be called for the foul. And if it is on number 1 in white, that is indeed his 4th personal.
That's just not a great foul right there. You're about 86 feet from the basket. No need to foul. Give them 2 easy points if he makes these free throws. And that cuts the lead down to 6 instead of 8.
Gilbert left the front end of the 1-on-1 short.
They got bailed out right there.
Zeb Jackson coming off his 20-point performance against Seattle, best in his career. Wide open look for Nelson. Off the back iron, Lipsy with a rebound. Wide open look from the right wing, off the money. And do we have a hook and hold possibility here? The 2 rebounders got tangled up. It's at least a personal foul. It goes against Kwani. That is his 4th.
Yeah, that could definitely be a possibility. I'm kind of surprised that nobody is going to look at this, because back in the day, yes, this would be classified as a hook and hold.
No question.
But I'm actually surprised that none of the referees went to the monitor to go look at this.
No question. Looked to me like Kwani clearly could have been called for a hook and hold. Another missed front end of a 1-on-1 for Iowa State.
I tell you what, Iowa State has to be able to make free throws if they want to win this basketball game.
Jackson going to work on King. Now he goes right past him into the lane. Wide open Nelson again from the corner. Air ball. Lipsy draws the contact. Great body control. Couldn't get the roll. Iowa State extends the possession back to Lipsy. No. Ballou got a hand on it, and it's VCU possession.
Let's take a look at this. Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. A little extra right there by Furman, but I think this is pretty accurate. Another hook and hold right there.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting that the referees are not really taking a look at this. 2 back-to-back possessions where we have seen a clear as day hook and hold, and nobody has checked it out.
Michael Bell and Toby Lawal back in for VCU. Curtis Jones has returned for Iowa State. You know, by the way, Hassan Ward, who is a Cyclone and former VCU Ram, not playing because of a left foot injury. He'll be sidelined until about January, when the senior big is expected back for the Cyclones. Jackson from the foul line.
Maybe got away with a little bit of a push-off right there on Lipsy to create the separation, but that's a great mid-range pull-up. Big bucket for Zeb Jackson.
Having a nice second half, part of this 10-2 run over the last 420. Great pump fake. And a chance for three. How about the game Keyshawn Gilbert's putting together? And now Furman's got 3 fouls.
Well, if you notice where Robert Jones sets the screen, he sets it low so he can get Keyshawn Gilbert going downhill. And one thing that Gilbert has learned is that Furman is quick to jump. So whenever you're dealing with the big who is quick to jump, the more patient you are, you can get him off your feet and get into them. Great awareness by Keyshawn Gilbert of knowing that Furman will leave his feet early.
He's got 15 points. The lead is once again 7. Shulga, step through. Great job by Robert Jones to just stand his ground. Well, he runs the floor asking for a pass from Gilbert. Instead, Gilbert goes end to end. Big rebound right there for Toby Lawal.
Toby Lawal might be one of the best I have seen at jumping vertical and not bringing his arms down on the vertical contest.
Zeb Jackson starting to feel it. A miss snatched away by Gilbert. And he again tries to go end to end and again will head back to the free throw line.
If you're VCU, you have to know that Keyshawn Gilbert is trying to get downhill. He is not trying to stop and pop. He is full speed going downhill. You have to be able to get ready to slide over and potentially take the charge. He's not looking to shoot the jumper.
Foul number 3 on Max Shulga. One of the 2 co-captains for VCU this year. He, along with Zeb Jackson, share that leadership role. Momcilovic goes out as Gilbert knocks down a pair.
Now this is where Iowa State has to get over the hump. Can they get this stop and take this 5-point lead, come down and get a bucket, and take it from 5 to 3? They have to get over the hump right now.
Jackson with the ball. He has scored VCU's last 7 points. Shulga for 3.
Oh, my goodness.
Nothing but net.
Man, this guy right here can hoop. Max Shulga is a baller, and right there, big pressure moment, sidestep 3. My man has game.
Screen by Robert Jones. Gilbert just continues to attack, King.
It's because of the angle in which Robert Jones is setting the screen. He's not setting it sideways where his back is toward the side out of bounds. He is setting it at a downhill angle, which makes it harder for the guards to fight over because you're already beat.
Miscommunication between Shulga and Jackson. Iowa State gets the ball back down by 6. Lipsy.
Ooh.
Nice reverse layup. 62-58.
They are getting to the paint at will. That is why they have cut this lead down to 4.
Bad pass by Shulga. Iowa State down 4 with the ball. Gilbert draws yet another foul before the shot. It's against Zeb Jackson. And that takes us to our next media timeout. What a finish to come here in Orlando.
Let's take a look at this Iowa State adjustment at half. Typically big set screens with their back facing the sideline out of bounds. But no, Robert Jones' back is facing downhill to where you have the angle and the advantage when you're coming off as a guard. And Keyshawn Gilbert is doing a tremendous job at being able to finish through contact when he gets that angle. It's so hard to chase a guard off the screen when it's set at that angle.
And he has been relentless with his penetration. He's been to the line 11 times. He's 5 for 12 from the floor, 19 points to lead all scorers to go along with 8 rebounds. Number 10 in Cardinal and Gold has given his all here tonight.
Him and Lipsy have literally put the team on their back and got them to where they are. And if you notice, Curtis Jones, a guy who averaged 15 at Buffalo, he's not really scoring right now. He's not in the game in this moment because of his scoring. He's in the game because of what he's providing on the defensive side of things. He is really being able to turn guys, diving for loose balls, getting charges. Curtis Jones has meant a lot for Iowa State on the defensive side of things.
Gilbert with 19 points. Lipsey has 18. And Curtis Jones just the 2 points. But as you mentioned, the senior from Minneapolis still out there playing a key role. Gilbert 1 of 2. And the folks who've made the trip from Iowa are hoping for a little bit of Hilton Magic South here. Jackson. Bell swings to Shulga. Shot clock down to 5. Jackson left it short. And Iowa State has another opportunity to tie this ball game.
If you notice right there, Shulga wanted to go one-on-one with Lipsey, but Lipsey's too good of a defender right there.
And Shulga took it back. Fouled at midcourt by Lipsey, and that was a good foul, whether he meant to give it up or not.
100%. I do not hate the foul. I absolutely love this foul right here. And the reason being is because that was a wide open 2 points. Now you put him on the line, whether he meant to do it or not. That is a great foul. It was a 2-on-1. VCU would have scored that. That's a great foul. Now you make him earn it on the line instead of giving him an easy 2 points.
Third foul on Lipsey. No, Shulga missed the front end.
And that foul, instead of getting 2 points, being down by 5, you are now down by 3. Completely different ball game. 1 possession game instead of 2.
Shulga tries to fight over the screen. Gilbert picks up the dribble. Robert Jones gives to Lipsey, who gives it back. Robert rises up and puts it in.
And that's what happens when you have a guy like Robert Jones who sets elite level screens. He is always open because his man has to slide over to protect the rim. Great awareness by Lipsey on the dump down.
Shulga, foul.
That right there, Doug, is a pro move. What he did, he gets the pump fake, he reaches his arms out. The reason why is because he saw that they were going to reach. He rips his arms out. We see James Harden do that a lot. When you rip your arms up in order to automatically hit the arm on the sweep through, that's a great play by Shulga to get to the free throw line, especially when Iowa State's in the bonus.
Third foul on Robert Jones. Shulga 4 of 5 from the line tonight. 18 for 22 on the young season. Calmly makes a pair for VCU. Under 2 minutes to go in regulation, and now the folks from Richmond come to their feet. Lipsey, tough shot. And he'll go to the line with a chance to tie the ball game.
That right there, we keep talking about grown man. Look at the strength right there. I thought he was a little bit out of control. I thought it was a bad shot. But the ability at a 6-foot guard, as a 6-foot guard, to finish through contact like that, I thought it was a little bit of a force, Doug. But you know what? He's strong enough to pull it off, and that is a and one. You have to flex on that.
Absolutely.
You have no other celebration but to flex on that, because that right there, we keep using the word grown man. That's a macho man move.
And he gets his own miss. Now the Cyclones can take the lead. Into the hands of Lipsey again. A new career high and the lead for Iowa State. It's first since the 12:29 mark of the first half. Big collision. Lipsey draws the foul against Furman.
Tamin Lipsey. I mean, he is Mr. Everything right now for Iowa State. Great floater. The bag, when he comes to finishing, he can do multiple things and finish in different ways, but right there, fighting over the ball screen, playing hard, giving your all, getting clipped on the screen, the energy that he is bringing, what he is meaning for Iowa State. He is one heck of a point guard.
That was the fourth foul on Christian Furman as Lipsey and Gilbert have led the Cyclones all the way back from down 15. Well, our first semifinal is set for tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, here in Orlando at the ESPN Events Invitational. Texas A&M and FAU, a big top 20 matchup. Iowa State and VCU fighting for a spot in the other semifinal, and our nightcap coming up over on ESPNU will be Boise State and Virginia Tech once we get done here with what has been a thrilling second half. With King McClure, I'm Doug Sherman. And VCU now down a point. Where do the Rams go for an answer?
I think it has to be Max Shulga. Zeb Jackson is their leading scorer, but in this game, what we have seen out of Shulga, the composure, the ability to get to the lane and make the right read to find his open teammates, I think you have to go to Shulga because he is more versatile than Zeb Jackson. Zeb Jackson can pass, but he's looking to score first and foremost. Shulga will make the right read, but you have to get a stop right here if you're VCU and play without fouling.
Shulga has 17 points, 8 assists for the Rams. Iowa State with the basketball, a minute 20 left in regulation.
And right here, the ball needs to be in nobody else's hands but Tamin Lipsey or Keyshawn Gilbert.
Seven to shoot. Gilbert driving on
Gotta
Shulga.
go.
Now they got to put it up. Tough shot as the horn sounded by Robert Jones. Good defense by VCU. So now Shulga has the ball in his hands. 2 timeouts remaining for VCU. Shulga penetrates. Around the defender, no. Cyclones basketball.
You do not have to foul. Not immediately. Could have went for a steal and fouled probably under like 20-18, but you didn't have to foul that early.
Fourth foul on Shulga, and that'll send Gilbert to the line, who is 10 of 13 in free throws tonight. But we said it at the time. When it seemed like Iowa State was dead in the water, the offense in the first half was not good. They were down by as many as 15. Right before halftime, Tamin Lipsey had back-to-back three-pointers to give the Cyclones life heading into the break.
And that sparked the momentum right there. Lipsey has gotten, he's worked on his game, and he's gotten so much better. And not just shooting, but be able to relocate and shoot, which is something that is a whole different level. Because typically, yeah, your catch and shoot can get better, but he's moving without the ball and being able to set his feet quickly and get him up. And we saw it at the end of the half, and now towards the second half, they have been able to get in the paint whenever they want to. They cannot be contained by VCU. We talked about VCU's length and how good they were at protecting the rim, but as far as keeping the smaller guards of Iowa State out of the paint, they haven't been able to do that.
And then here's our shot of the game, brought to you by Novavax. We go back to that man, number 3 in Cardinal and Gold, Tamin Lipsey, with the big shot for the lead and a new career high just moments ago.
That's what he has had to do. They needed an answer offensively. We talked about, we would learn a lot about this team tonight, Doug, because this is the first time they faced adversity. And one thing that I have seen, that I have learned, that I'm sure TJ Altenberger has figured out, is Tamin Lipsey and Keyshawn Gilbert. They are a tough, resilient duo.
They have combined for 44 of the 65 Iowa State points. And Gilbert heading back to the line where he has spent the better part of the second half for TJ Altenberger. Iowa State by 3.
I like the substitution right here. You're putting in Jason Nelson, one of your better three-point shooters, and taking out Luwal, who really isn't a threat. Right now, if you're at Iowa State, you have 3 guys on the court who can knock down a 3. Bell is sometimes streaky. He's hit 2 today, but you have to be aware of that.
Jackson to Shulga. Forces up the 3. Iowa State with the rebound. VCU has to give up the foul with only 5.2 remaining.
And if you're VCU, that is not a great offensive possession. It was a more one-on-one, and Iowa State, one thing they do a tremendous job of is staying in front of the basketball. None of the moves worked on them. They did a good job of chesting up, not allowing any separation. Not a great possession by VCU. Would have loved to see more movement, maybe a pick and roll, maybe getting the Iowa State team in some rotations, but right there, too much one-on-one, and you didn't get anything out of it but a bad shot.
And on the foul, Christian Furman has fouled out for the Rams. There you see number 21, the sophomore from Tobyhanna, Pennsylvania. If you just close your eyes for a moment, it almost feels like we're in Ames.
Man, these fans are great. They are loud. They love their Cyclones.
Iowa State trying to keep its perfect record on the young season intact. Well, that helps to keep the door open. The miss by Curtis Jones.
You have to make this one, but if he happens to miss, I would foul immediately.
It's a 4-point game. Timeout. Iowa State to set up the defense. And that'll leave the Cyclones with 1 timeout. And now if you're VCU, you're really up against it.
You are. It has to be a Shulga screen, back screen, maybe a hammer play where they drive and set the back screen flare for the shooter in the corner. But it has to be a quick 3. You only have 5 seconds. If you're Iowa State, just don't foul right here. Because if you happen to shoot a 3 and you foul on a contest and he makes it, now all of a sudden it could be a 4-point play. Do not foul if you're Iowa State. For VCU, it has to be quick.
What a turnaround on the offensive end for Iowa State in the second half. 17 of 28, shooting 61%. And that includes 0 for 6 from beyond the three-point line.
It seems like in the second half, they really haven't even needed to shoot threes because they are getting to the paint at will and getting whatever they want on the finishes.
They've gotten to the free throw line an awful lot, even though they've not made a great percentage. The Cyclones have willed their way back in front of this game that they trailed by as many as 15 points in the first half. When we finish up here, we will send you to the battle for Atlantis, Memphis, and Arkansas. We will be joining them in progress.
This Iowa State team is gritty. They are tough. I mean, you're shooting 2 for 13 from the 3, but find a way to come back down 13-14 in the first half. That is what TJ Otzelberger learned about his team, how tough and how gritty they were if they continue to pull off this win.
Shulga, Jackson, and Nelson in the front court for VCU. Lawal and Bell in the backcourt. It'll be Shulga to trigger on the inbound. No time to waste for VCU. Baseball pass to Bell, who calls timeout. Clock may get more time put on. It went from 5.2 down to 3.3 here in the arena. We will see as the officials go over during this break if they put fractions of a second back on.
And the reason why you do that is because in the NBA they have the advancement rule. In college, there is no advancement rule. So they throw to half court to get the ball advanced to take maybe like 0.6 seconds off of the clock, maybe 0.5. How much? Maybe a little bit less than that. But they do that because of the lack of advancement rule in college basketball. Yeah, that too much time went off right there.
Yeah, it's going to be 4 point something, I would imagine.
I think they started it late too. Yeah, they started the clock late because when he catches it, nothing comes off. They started the clock late. It should probably be about 0.3, 0.4 seconds coming off of this.
Well, they have changed it now to 4.9. By using that timeout, VCU has none remaining, so you've got to get the ball in. And where, again, do you imagine Coach Odom is going to go? Into Shulga's hands, or will he be the inbounder?
Well, it has to be, whatever it is, it has to be an immediate shot. Because with 4.9, if you get a quick three and then a foul, maybe you get a shot up within 1, maybe 2 seconds. And then you have 2 seconds to foul, and who knows what can happen after that. But it has to be within 1 or 2 seconds.
Keyshawn Gilbert, Taman Lipsey both with 22 points to lead Iowa State. Robert Jones has 12. And for VCU, 4 players in double figures, led by Shulga's 17 points. Iowa State breaks its huddle. Boy, the adjustments you talked about coming out of the halftime locker room by Coach Otzelberger have really done wonders.
I think he's one of the best. And I saw it during the halftime warm-ups. They were working on short roll floaters. They were working on driving and filling behind. I mean, TJ Otzelberger is so underrated in his in-game adjustments.
And they have shot the lights out from 2 here in the second half. Zeb Jackson, 4-3. No good. Iowa State's got the basketball, and they come all the way back from 15 down to punch their ticket into the semifinal round.
And this is a tough win for Iowa State. TJ Otzelberger talked to us yesterday and said, I really don't know how good we will be, and we will learn a lot about our team. And I think he learned a lot about his guys in this type of win.
Iowa State finishes the game on a 14-2 run, winning at 68-64. We send you to the battle for Atlantis, Memphis, and Arkansas with Andrea Carter. Here's Kevin Fitzgerald.